Hello friends, in this video I will talk about how you should go about handling and more importantly responding to a negative feedback, and especially when it is coming from your manager. Now, negative feedback inherently or essentially is designed to help you. It is a constructive feedback that should help you improve and get better and reach your goals. That is the basic premise. Now, there could be instances where the feedback, either you don't agree with it, or it's not very clear, or even it's not very clear with the manager. And when he or she is sharing that feedback, it is very important for you to know how to handle it, how to grasp it, and then how to respond to it. So this is all that I will talk to you in this video, and I will explain in very detail. And these are the ways or process. If you use exactly like this, you will come out very successful out of that feedback session. And trust me, when you go into your next feedback or performance review, that particular negative or constructive feedback would just turn into positive by following these steps. Now, one call out before we move further. In case you find any value from this video, number one, press the like button. You have no idea how far this like button will go in terms of my channel doing better, and this just keeps me motivated. Second, press the subscribe button and along with the bell icon so you get notified as soon as I put a new content on this channel. On this channel, I post content pertaining to career and financial success for early and mid-career professionals. Apart from that, if you want me to continue making unbiased content like this, you can support me on patreon.com. I will leave the link to my Patreon page in the description of this video. Now let's get rolling back into the video. Number one, when you are in that feedback session with your manager, listen carefully and listen actively. Do not interrupt the manager or whoever is giving you feedback. Let them say everything they have to say. Now, it is very important that you start taking notes. Key things that they are calling out or things that you want to respond to, but don't respond while they're talking. Make sure you take a note and address it or write it down that these are the things that you would want to address once the individual is done talking. This serves two purposes. One, it will hold you back from being emotional and just reacting. And second, it allows the manager to say everything. And by the way, third thing is it also helps you jot down points in a way where you can, when you get your turn to respond, you can respond in a very constructive, concise, and a proper way versus just being emotional about it, because now you have everything written down in front of you. So once the manager is done talking, you can read through your notes and respond in a very constructive, polite, nice, and a smart way, a well thought through way, because you've written it down. So you've given it some thought. So much so that after kind of you're done listening, you can even take some time to construct how you would respond to it and then say it in that way. So tip number one is to make sure you listen before you can interrupt or respond. Just listen till the manager or the individual is done talking. Rather, there should be a long pause before you go and respond. Second piece is, once the individual is done talking, before you even respond, and this is the most important part, you need to ask the manager to give you examples. It is very easy to say your performance was not up to par, or you didn't do a good job, or you were lazy, or let's say that project didn't deliver well. It is very easy to say all that. However, it is very important for you to know concrete examples. You can't just give a blanket statement that you need to improve, you need to get better, your communication needs to improve. These are very standard feedback statements that anyone can throw out at anyone without even understanding what is the consequence, where is it coming from. And many a times people have feelings about other people and they'll say, you're not up to the mark, your performance is not there. Now, what does it mean? Can you give me an example where it happened? Exactly an example, like an instance. There was a certain email I wrote to you, there was a certain project I delivered, there was a certain presentation I was giving. Can you exactly tell me or give me an example where this happened? Now, this serves two purposes, or maybe three, but let's talk about the two, which is, one, it helps the manager think about the issue, because maybe they've not given it any thought. Maybe just they think of you as an average employee and have built this equity in their mind without even realizing why do they think about you in such a way. And when you ask them to give examples, there could be an instance where they don't have an example at all. And if that's the case, very easy, because now you can easily challenge it back to the manager and say, you are just saying stuff because you have a feeling, but there is no concrete evidence that this has happened. So I don't take the feedback because there is no concrete evidence. Second, if there is concrete evidence, you are able to relate to it because you now exactly know where you did something wrong, so you know what to improve in future, versus just saying your performance needs to improve, your delivery needs to improve, your attitude needs to improve. These are, again, as I said, blanket, very broad statements which have no action that you can take out of them. So remember, ask for examples and exactly say this in the same way, which is, can you give me an example where you've observed this particular feedback or factor that you are giving me feedback for? So ask for that example. And number 3 is, it will, as I said, it will help you improve, because once you've really understood that, oh yeah, it happened because there was this instance where you made this error. Now it is very easy for you to have that conversation where you can have a conversation about how you can go about improving in that situation. Or so much so, even if you don't want to have that conversation with your manager, you exactly know where you faltered, and then you can ask other mentors or other stakeholders how you can improve in that particular situation. Let's say it was a presentation where you didn't present well because you had a lot of information on the chart and it was very difficult to decipher what exactly your message was. Let's say that is the feedback that you got. But if you have that example that is on that particular day when you were presenting, you had the slide which had a lot of information, it was very difficult to decipher what were you going to say or what were you intending to say. Now you can go to a mentor or any other key stakeholder or a friend and ask them, this is the mistake I've done, how would you have done it differently? And they can obviously guide you, because now there is a concrete example of what was the issue. And once you know the issue, which is 90% of problem solving is done through identifying what the issue is. Once you know the issue, it is very easy to come up with the solution. For that matter, even you can come up with the solution. You really don't need to go to anyone, but probably if you do, you exactly know how to go to someone and what to talk to them. Now, if you're interested in having a one-to-one session with me where you want to connect and talk about certain workplace issue or concern or any advice or suggestion or mentoring or coaching that you might want, you can connect to me on one-to-one basis. I will leave the link to my calendar and the details of how to go about connecting with me in the description of this video. Now let's get rolling back into the video. Now, once the manager has delivered their feedback, you've asked the question, now share your acknowledgement. This is tip number 3. Because now, since the feedback is very clear to you, share the acknowledgement that you understand. Whatever they said, whether you agree or you disagree, you understand. And you exactly understand when it happened, where it happened, and why it happened. Now you have 2 options. One is you go about defending it and giving a reason why it happened and so it happened. And the second option is accepting it and saying, I agree and I will fix it. The best solution here is to kind of do both, which is defend it for sure. Give a reason why you did it, because it cannot just be that you were lazy on that day or you didn't feel performing well on that day and hence you did it in that particular way. So give a reason why you behaved in that particular way, because it will never be that it was solely your fault. It may be the circumstances were such, there were some issue with regards to how others were putting their deck together or presentation together, because it could very well be the kind of briefing you got from your manager or from the other key stakeholders and you kind of acted on that briefing. So you have to kind of defend in terms of explain why you did or behaved in that certain fashion. Now, once that is done, you also have to give or agree or give an indication how you would do it better next time, because now you know what went wrong. Even if it was not your fault, you know what went wrong. How would you do it better? So this is where you kind of accept the feedback, which is you go like, I understand this happened. It was not purely my fault and these are the reasons why it happened, but I could have done something to avoid it, which I didn't in the real time. However, in future, I will avoid it. If you have a solution to it there and then share it. Say these are the couple of things that you will do in future so that you are better prepared, so that you are better able to manage that situation. And in case you don't have that idea right now, once you're receiving that feedback, maybe ask for time and say, I understand there's a part that I could play. I don't know exactly what that would be, but let me get back to you. Or what you can do is you can even ask them and say, can you help me given the situation, given the circumstances, given what I was briefed or what I was given in terms of the tools, how would you do it differently? Now this serves another purpose because it puts the ball in their court and now they are in the thinking mode and putting themselves in your shoes versus just trying to act as manager and giving you feedback and expecting you to just fix everything. Now they have to be in your shoes. So they have to be more humble and gentle with you, and even kind of course correct their harshness in terms of the feedback, because now they can feel for you and they can give you some advice. And another powerful thing of an advice is when someone gives you an advice, they get emotionally invested in you as well, because now they want that advice to work for you. So if you go and act on that advice and come back to them and say, I acted on the advice and it didn't work, now the onus is on them. Or I acted on the advice and it worked, it makes them even feel happier, because one, you listened to them, it was their advice, you acted on it. So suddenly they're like, wow, thank you, you just rocked it. And your next feedback session would be just amazing. So think of all these points when you are trying to defend and accept the feedback and then respond to it in terms of what will you do differently. Last but not the least, once you're done, thank your manager. Thank them for the fact that they've given thought about your performance and they're invested in trying to improve you or trying to make you get better. And tell them that you understand, you see this objective and you want to do the same, and you really appreciate them investing their time in you. This kind of makes them feel good about themselves and feel also kind of responsible to improve you, because you kind of tell them that you're thankful that they're investing in you and they have their sincere heart in you to improve and get better, and you will do your utmost best to get better at it. This just kind of gives them the feeling that whatever feedback they gave you, you kind of accepted or accepted most of it. And then once you've accepted, you're ready to work on it. So it just kind of mellows them down and gives them a soft heart for yourself, and give them the feeling that you will be someone who will act on it and rebound from that feedback. Here, another thing which is important, which I kind of mentioned earlier as well, make sure you don't accept everything. Like if they have 10 things to say about you, you can't just accept everything. If you accept everything and come out of the meeting accepting everything without giving any defense, any reasoning to why it happened, it will just look bad. What you need to do is you need to accept some, deflect some, and explain some. This way, one, you will be very focused, because these are out of those 10 things, these are the 2-3 things that you will be working on. And second, having a feedback which is full of 10 things is just overwhelming, right? It's almost a disaster in itself. So you need to push on some things and you have to take something. You cannot come out of the meeting and say, I pushed on all of it. That would be bad as well. So you have to come out of the meeting giving the manager the feeling that you are coachable, but at the same time, you also need to come out as a winner, which is there were certain things that you did in a certain way because they had to be done in that way. It's just that your manager was missing that perspective, and you give them that perspective, because you need to reduce the number of issues the manager is calling out. If he has 10 issues and you take 10 issues and get out of the meeting, I see it as a big red flag. But if he or she has 10 issues, you deflect on 6, you accept 4 and agree to work on the 2, and the other 2 you can just put on the side. I think that's a success. So the idea is that you come up with a win-win scenario where you listen and accept some feedback, you deflect some feedback, or you explain them why it happened in such a way, and then you just focus on the things which are most important. Now here comes the last part, which is once you go in your next check-ins or next review meetings with your manager, make sure you bring that particular feedback up yourself before them even calling out. Say, last time when we connected, these are the things you called out. Out of these things, we agreed these are the things I'm working on, and here is what I worked on. Now this will serve 2 purposes. One is maybe the manager almost forgot about it, or is not thinking about it, or is not ready to talk about that feedback in that particular meeting because he or she has not spent much time re-evaluating you on that particular feedback. But if you come proactively and you handle it or tackle it in advance before them talking about it or even thinking about it, this will certainly surprise them positively, and they won't have much to say but to just agree with you, because they'll be like, this person is on top. He or she talked about exactly the same words, same feedback that they accepted last time, and they're working on it. Now, even if it's not perfect, and even if you've not perfected it, and even if you go about saying, I'm not still there, I'm still trying, I'm still getting better at it, that is all you need to do. That is your success, because you are telling the manager, I heard you, I agree with you, and I'm working on it. And here is the progress. This is what they want to know. They just don't want to see you exactly there, reaching there. if you give that feeling that you are coachable and you are working on it, that is success. Even you just can continue to work on it forever, that is fine. But as long as you're improving each time, each day on that particular feedback, that is all you need to prove to your manager. I understand, guys, responding to negative feedback is challenging, but if you follow these steps exactly in this way, which I've done always and come out successful from my feedback sessions, you will also be coming out successful from your feedback sessions, but also be using all that learning to up your career and up your progression in the company. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this video will add value in your career, and now you would be able to ace your feedback sessions, take learnings from it, and get back into the feedback session, the next feedback session, even stronger. Whether it's your manager or the feedback is coming from your stakeholders. Now, in case you found value in this video, I'm sure you'll find value in another video which I have on my channel where I talk about how to manage your manager, one of the most important skills. You can check out the link for that video here. Other than that, I have another video on my channel where I talk about how you can stand out in a meeting or in a group setting or in a team setting at your workplace. Check out that video here. Thank you.